So picture this, a rugged volcanic island just jutting straight up out of the middle of the Atlantic. You're probably imagining some barren, windswept rock, right? Well, what if I told you it's actually a floating garden? Seriously, Madeira is just this explosion of green, crisscrossed by these ancient paths that lead to some of the most jaw-dropping natural wonders you will ever see.
I mean, just look at the sheer drama of this place. At first glance, you see these incredibly steep, rugged slopes, and you might think, how could you possibly explore that? But that's the secret. Hidden inside this landscape is a whole world of lush valleys, prehistoric forests, and cliff-hugging trails that are just waiting for you. This is way more than just a pretty island. It is an adventure waiting to happen.
All right, so where exactly is this paradise? Madeira is a Portuguese archipelago, but it's actually way out there, closer to Africa than it is to mainland Europe. And its secret weapon? A subtropical climate that makes it a perfect year-round escape for anyone who just wants to get lost in nature.
And what's truly mind-boggling is how much variety they've packed into just 750 square kilometers. It's wild. In a single day, you could journey from a beautiful, flower-fringed waterway, hike through a misty ancient forest, and end up on a peak that literally scrapes the clouds. It's like having an entire continent's worth of landscapes in one tiny, perfect package.
So you might be asking, how in the world do you even start to explore such a vertical place? Well, the answer lies in something called the levadas. These are the island's lifelines, this unique network of trails that are basically your guide into the very heart of Madeira's wild interior.
So what is a levada? The name comes from the Portuguese word for to carry, which is exactly what they were built for. Starting way back in the 15th century, these incredible irrigation channels were hand-dug to carry precious water from the wet, rainy north to the sunny, agricultural south for things like growing sugarcane. Pretty amazing, right? And today, they carry walkers on these absolutely unforgettable journeys.
And the coolest thing is the sheer variety. On one trail, you might be taking this gentle, peaceful stroll through a quiet, wooded valley, just listening to the birds. But on another, you could find yourself on a real adrenaline-pumping trek along a path that's literally carved into a sheer cliff face, with these staggering drops just a single step away. There is, for sure, a levada for every single level of adventure.
And this really just sums it up perfectly, doesn't it? The Levada network unlocks the entire island. Think of it as your all-access pass to explore everything from those deep green valleys and terrace farms to dramatic rocky slopes and stunning coastlines. It is, without a doubt, the ultimate way to experience the real Madeira.
But here's where it gets even cooler. Following these man-made water channels can lead you somewhere truly ancient, a place that feels like it's straight out of a lost world. We're talking about one of the last and largest prehistoric forests on the entire planet.
Which brings us to a really fascinating question. What exactly is a Laura Silva cloud forest? It sounds like something from a fantasy novel. And honestly, when you're there, it feels like it too.
Okay, so this is not just any old forest. The Laura Silva is a living relic. It's a type of laurel forest that was common millions of years ago, but pretty much vanished from Europe during the Ice Age. But Madeira's unique climate and steep mountains created this perfect little refuge for it to survive. And it's called a cloud forest because it literally combs moisture right out of the passing clouds, acting like a giant sponge that drips water down to the ground. This forest is the engine that feeds the levadas, keeping the whole island supplied with water.
I mean, walking through the Laura Silva is an almost mystical experience. The air is damp and cool, everything around you is covered in this thick blanket of green moss and ferns, and you're surrounded by these gnarled, ancient trees that have stood there for centuries. You're not just on a hike, you're literally stepping through a living fossil, a window into the Earth's distant past. All right, from the deep, damp forests, let's head up, way up. The next natural wonder of Madeira takes us above the tree line, to the island's jagged volcanic spine, for a walk that is quite literally above the clouds. The trails up here, they present a whole different kind of challenge. They're steep, they're rugged, and they are completely exposed to the elements. As you climb, all that lush green gives way to hardier mountain plants. These paths, they just wind their way up to the highest points on the island, like Pico Ruvo, where the landscape becomes raw, rocky, and just utterly spectacular. And the reward for that tough climb? This. This is the view from the roof of Madeira. On a lot of afternoons, the clouds will actually form below the highest peaks, creating this incredible sea of white that stretches all the way to the horizon. Just imagine standing on an island, in the middle of the ocean, looking down on the clouds. It's an unforgettable, almost surreal experience.
Now for a complete change of scenery, a really dramatic contrast. We're going to leave the green interior and those high peaks behind. Now we're heading to the coast, specifically the wild eastern tip of the island, where the volcanic soul of Madeira crashes right into the powerful Atlantic Ocean.
Welcome to Ponta de San Lorenzo. This peninsula feels like it's on a different planet compared to the rest of the island. It's arid, it's windswept, and there are almost no trees. Here you can see the volcanic origins of Madeira laid bare in these contorted, multicolored cliffs that just plunge into the sea. It's a stark, raw, and incredibly powerful landscape.
This really captures the island's incredible dual personality, doesn't it? On one hand, you have the unbelievably lush interior with its prehistoric cloud forests and those flower-fringed levadas. And on the other, you have the rugged coast with its raw volcanic cliffs and arid rocky slopes. It's this stunning diversity that makes Madeira such a unique jewel for anyone who loves nature.
So, that leaves us with just one final thought. We've journeyed from the ancient, life-giving levadas, we've walked through a prehistoric forest, we've climbed up to cloud-piercing peaks, and we've gone out to the wild, volcanic coast. Each one offers a completely different world to explore. So, the only question left is, from ancient forests to coastal cliffs, where would your Madeira adventure begin?